Alright guys, what we got here is a 2013 Chevy Impala 3.6 engine with a misfire. So if you're showing a code PO305 or PO3001 through 6, that P030 code is a misfire per cylinder. So this one had a code P0305, which was cylinder number 5. Steady misfire. I could watch it on the scanner. I could watch it misfire and count up the misfires and then drop off, start counting again. So the first thing I did, is go in and pull the coil and move the coil. Switch coils with a cylinder that we know is working. See if that misfire then follows the coil. In this case it did not. So then I start checking other stuff. Start checking to make sure you got proper fuel pressure. It did. Even went as far as toning out the wiring all the way back to the plug on the ECM. All that was good. Everything's good, Weird thing about this is it would run. It idles very rough, but when you get above 1500 RPMs or so driving it, it was fine, So that was one of the things that it just hard to figure out. So you start checking all the other things, because there are a multitude of things that can cause a misfire. A lot of times it's a random misfire and it's jumping around from cylinder to cylinder. But in this case it stayed on 5. Stayed on 5. So the next thing to do, once confirming everything else was good, is pull the valve cover and check the valve train, see if we have anything wrong in the valve train. Well, we did. There it is right there. It's a broken exhaust valve spring. So with these engines having 2 intake and 2 exhaust valves per cylinder, it's still going to run, and then once that cycle of intake and exhaust is flowing, it runs pretty decent. Not great, not perfect, but it still ran good until you get down on idle. It also ran a little bit fat. It seemed a little rich, seemed a little smelly, because it just could not clear that cylinder at idle with one valve. So that was definitely the problem here. Getting ready to pop the cam and change that spring, but if you're fighting a misfire and it's staying on one cylinder and you've checked everything else is good, pop that valve cover, get in there and have a look at the valve train. That's something, if you're watching this, you're obviously getting your hands dirty working on cars, and a shop's going to want to charge you probably two hours or better just to pull the intake and the valve cover and have a look and tell you what's wrong. Believe me, it takes about 15 minutes to pull it all apart and see what's going on. So if you're not afraid to get in there and work on it, that's how you find out what's going on. And the spring's $6. So there you go. Hopefully that'll help you find your misfire, because it can drive you crazy. Have a good one.